So my first question is, I wonder if this is the same sort of prediction as the airlines, what we've heard from some of the airline CEOs, that they don't expect business travel to recover to pre-pandemic levels until 2024, but they do see demand surging next year. How do you see this playing out, in a similar way, or are we going to sort of wait until 2024 to see this recovery start to pick up?
Sure. Thanks for having me on the program. From an office space usage perspective, it's probably going to be 2023, maybe 2024 before we're back to normal, pre-COVID normal. However, a couple of things to keep in mind. First of all, commercial real estate investing has so many different options. Apartments are fully occupied. Rent growth is at a record level. Necessity retail, like fast food restaurants, drugstores, are at a record high. Demand for self-storage, even student housing. All these different segments are actually doing well. Office space is the one laggard, even compared to hotels, which were, of course, shut down. And the anticipation is that hospitality, hotels will come back. It's a matter of when, not if. But with office space, the question is, what will the hybrid work environment look like even after we get through all these speed bumps like Omicron and whatever else may be, on the horizon? What will it look like long term? Will there be less demand for office space per worker? We believe there will be, and that will shrink demand. But at the same time, when you have record number of new business startups and an economic growth that is still very sustainable, you're going to see new demand. In the long term, we think those two factors are going to kind of offset each other. But in the short term, you're going to have these fits and starts when it comes to office space.
So where do you see that new demand benefiting? I mean, we've certainly already started to see some of this play out in places like Florida and Texas. Does sort of where we go to work start to change?
It does, in the sense that the markets that are capturing the immigration of people and companies like Arizona, Nevada, Texas, you mentioned Florida, Georgia, even the state of Washington, Seattle, for example, is already seeing a very large recovery. That in-migration in many of these markets is finding very low office space availability. Like in Florida, some of the submarkets are actually having to build new office space. In other markets, like New York, like San Francisco, like Chicago, where the vacancies are very high and the hybrid work environment is going to reduce office space, the market is really having to depend on future job growth, and the business formations that we're seeing are promising, but they have a long way to go to replace the vacated office space. One thing to keep in mind is the average office lease still has 3.5 to 4 years left on it. So our clients, our office space clients, owners of these office buildings, are still financially fine because most of the companies have survived and they're paying their rent. So from a default perspective or loan performance perspective, we don't really see a big crisis ahead of the office sector. It's a matter of office space usage and what happens when those leases roll over.
Yeah, it certainly will be one to watch. 2024, again, full recovery for commercial real estate. Hessam Nadji, thanks for being with us today.